Good morning. Today my group and I will criticize the group number 1. So in order to start, I will mention the points in the order established in the work. So let's start. The general objective is brief and short. It doesn't describe the way on which they do and what they are looking for with its action. The specific objectives are in the same way, since they are the beacon that guides the investigation. They have to express how it will be achieved and why it will be achieved. The hypothesis is not clear with the main purpose.
At the next point, the problem approach. We noticed that the team operationalized the problem approach and that it's not correct. Neither it's bearable because the problem approach is used to put in context the material necessities on the American continent and for the rise of the international organization about the legal area. It doesn't establish the right way of the legal base. It's limited to describe Latin American countries' constitutions with articles less or not relevant with the studied international organizations, and also they didn't place the full constitutive agreement of the organization. So about the methodological area, there is not a specific method. The instruments are lack of foundations since they don't depend on the right operationalization of variable systems. In the development of the work, there is no operationalization of hypotheses. The team operationalized the problem, like I said, but in this case, the hypothesis system was only mentioned. Variables, dimensions, indicators, and equations that serve as the basis for the instrument and the technique are not distinguished. Therefore, the research is found without an adequate system of hypotheses, which allows its correct verification anew, and hypotheses are constituted in simple assertions.
Okay, to continue, I will mention the points of the work in order that we established. The lack of logical connectors is evident in the drafting of the chapter structure, which allows the correct understanding of the ideas and prevents only the information from being cut and pasted, which does not allow a correct analysis of the information furthermore. In the development of the research, there is a significant amount of spelling mistakes and in the correct writing of the mentioned institutions. This is something that we can observe in the reading of the work. The lack of logical connectors is really important in order to have a really good work, in order to make the reader to understand what are you trying to say and what are you trying to, or what did you get in your investigation. Quote number 1 belongs to the historical backgrounds, denotes lack of consultation of major sources, since they only refer to a single bibliographic source. The citations corresponding to the first chapter denote a lack of varied consultation, since they are limited to a single source. In quote 21 is evident the lack of consultation of a web link. In the same way, quote number 3 lacks of bibliographic sources. When we read this work, we can observe that the quotes are really bad structured. We don't know if the group work did it because they didn't read the Chicago manual, or if they just did it like that. We don't know, but we can appreciate those mistakes that are really important in the development of a serious investigation. It accomplished the format, the right structure of the cover before mentioned. The only observation is the use of institutional logo. Instead, it has to be the International Affairs School logo. This was one of the first mistakes that we could observe in the reading of the work, because this is not a thesis. This is just a investigation work, and you have to use the institutional logo of the school, not of the university. The diplomatic note, we don't have any complaints in it. It is really good structure. It has all the elements that it is required in order to have a really good diplomatic note, and we don't have complaints in that aspect.
If the hypothesis from the investigation would have been focused on cooperation projects and their benefits to state parties, the investigated work would have had a different course, not just one historical course from the constitution of the organization. The historical resource is very important, but as a working group, you must generate a contribution by your own. By observing and analyzing the general and specific hypotheses, the lack of the structure and understanding can be evidenced. Both the general and the first specifies. It is clearly seen that these are very similar and give to understand the same situation. In addition, there is no operationalization of them, nor the identification of their independent variable and dependent, which lead to this lacking validity for the investigation, so that it is impossible to correctly verify or deny it. Both operationalization and the identification of more variables were carried out in the approach to the problem, a situation that does not agree and is not allowed in investigation. So a methodological mistake has been made in the investigation.
We create this element as an example that the team could include into the chapter number 2, and in this element we explain how the countries, the private institutions, or another actor who is interested may solicit a loan. In the first place, we explain that there are two types of loans: the public fundings and the private funding, and there are 3 categories from the public loans, like the investment loans, the supporting political reforms, and special financing for development. And from the private funding, the private institution, they offer loans for infrastructure, energy, or transport, and also for capital markets development or export financing projects. But how these actors can request a loan? Well,
The interested institution or body should contact the MIF, and the MIF official will provide assistance to them, and then the applicant must complete the preliminary application form, and the bank officials submit a written report recommending the proposal after examining its merits, and then if the application is approved for processing, the IDB will contact the executing institution in order to prepare the social internship project profile, but they solicit institutional information and
project between the IDB and El Salvador. EST 1309 Digital Transformation and New Financial Products for Salvadoran SMEs. To facilitate a dynamic menu of financial and non-financial services focused on the changing needs of Salvadoran SMEs to help them become commercial, managerial, and technologically competitive when they enter into a financial relationship with Scotiabank El Salvador. That is, when they obtain a loan, open a bank account, purchase payment service, or their Scotiabank products focused on SMEs. Project detail. Project number EST 1309. Approval date December 2, 2019. Project country El Salvador. Project sector private firms and SME development. Project subsector project type technical cooperation. Project status implementation. EST 1297. Support the development of information system for coffee forests on El Salvador. The main objective is to design a national system to generate and disseminate relevant, timely, and high-quality information for the design, monitoring, and evaluation of competitive and sustainable policies for the coffee sector in El Salvador. The TC will support the strengthening of the information system of the coffee sector in El Salvador. The resource will support 1. The design of a high-quality information system for the coffee sector in El Salvador that is able to provide socio-demographic, geographic, agronomic, and environmental information for the coffee sector. 2. The development of a statistical system for the coffee sector comprises of a registry of producer coffee census and a survey instrument that generate dynamic, georeferenced data of national coverage. 3. The design of mechanisms to capture and process information for national and international markets. And 4. The design and implementation of mechanisms to provide timely and relevant information to coffee growers regarding production, price, and technologies. The resources will seek to complement the proposed activities for Operation ESL 1135. Project detail. Approval date January 8, 2020. Project country El Salvador. Project sector agriculture and rural development. Project subsector project type technical cooperation. Environmental and social impact category C. Project status implementation.
The Inter-American Development Bank is a multilateral financial institution with more than 50 years of history. Our objective is to improve lives in Latin America and the Caribbean. The IDB works to achieve socioeconomic development in a sustainable, climate-friendly way. The bank operates like a big cooperative with contributions from its 48 member countries. 26 of these are Latin American and Caribbean borrowing countries that hold the majority of shares and voting rights. These 26 countries receive loans, grants, and technical assistance from the bank. The IDB's highest authority is its Board of Governors, made up of the finance ministers from each member country. The Board of Governors delegates its oversight responsibilities to the Board of Executive Directors. All of its operations are implemented by the bank's country offices in coordination with Washington, D.C. headquarters. By developing public policies on infrastructure, energy, water and sanitation, education and health, and other relevant issues, the IDB strives to reduce poverty in its borrowing nations. To this end, the bank provides financial and non-financial resources to governments, corporations, and civil society organizations in all the countries where it operates. All these tools must be integrated into the strategy jointly formulated by each country and the IDB. The bank uses capital provided by its members, non-reimbursable funds, fiduciary funds, and AAA-rated debt to finance its goals. This enables the IDB to issue US $12 billion in loans every year. In 2010, the Board of Governors agreed to increase the ordinary capital of the bank to continue promoting development with resources and ideas. The IDB considers the private sector a key stakeholder to achieve inclusive growth. For this reason, the bank also strives to develop the private sector. For over 50 years, we have sought to reduce inequality and poverty, help the smaller and more vulnerable countries, and promote development in a sustainable way, fostering regional cooperation and integration. At the IDB, we want to improve the lives of people in Latin America and the Caribbean.